or if they go ahead and swap that around for the side of Futbolist. But we're going to find out here in just a few seconds as both teams getting back out onto the Rift.
Finally, and hopefully for the third time is going to be a real one. Hopefully we're going to have an entire game action. Man, this is 3 games in a row. I'm realizing we've got another Infernal Drake start for the initial spawn. 3 times in a row. This is pretty wild, and it is the most important Drake to have at any stage of the game. So these 2 teams are going to be definitely having to be very cautious of how they approach this. But very similar to what we had earlier in the sense that we got this Fiora playing the mid lane position up against Snitch on this Orianna, which I mentioned many times here, Tasty. He is going to be absolutely broken. But Fiora is a character that does great in those 1v1 duels. She is a duelist after all. That is exactly her role. So into an Orianna, she can actually do pretty well if she's able to play around her mobility well.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a tough matchup, just again because range versus melee, you're always going to favor the ranged champion in that sense. But and right there, as soon as Fiora goes in to try and get any CS, immediately Stitch is going to be able to Snitch, is going to be able to punish by just throwing that ball over and making it cause that little bit of extra damage. I also really like that move there. Snitch walks up a little bit, pops the honey fruit, forcing Fiora to kind of have to take that early, and maybe causing a potential issue when now there's going to be this lane swap. So they tried to shake it up early on, but now going to be putting the Aurelion Soul back to mid after he gets the first couple of levels in the top lane.
They just understood that no, that Fiora, that duelist, is not going to be able to take that. So they did an instant swap, which I do like. Also now, Fiora is going to be back versus Leon on this Jarvan. So that's going to be a great matchup to see how things are going to be happening. We did show Elpis actually got heavily bullied into the bottom side of the map. He got engaged initially by the Lee Sin and also by Frint on the Alistar. So he's going to have to be very cautious because early game is not really a position where normally Varus does pretty good. Though, into the top side of the jungle, there you go. That's going to be Rek'Na. They're going to fight on his own, though. Fiora is going to be trying to slowly join up on that spot, and that's going to be initially the scuttle gun their way. Picked up by Tribe, but Swiss is going to be having to flash away from that fight entirely, as he's not ready to take the full-on wrath of Tribe for the time being.
Yeah, so good scuttle grab there by the side of Tribe, and then also they managed to get the bottom scuttle as well. So both scuttle crabs going the way of Tribe early on. That's going to be a nice little boon to have here in the early goings, but it's not actually generating a gold lead for them. They did have to sacrifice a little bit of time in the lane with those minions in order to secure both the scuttle crabs. So they are trailing by just a little bit of gold. Not going to be enough to make a really big impact yet, though. Although it's now actually grown a little bit. So that 500 gold lead or so, again, doesn't really equate to much in terms of items across the board, but it's still something to keep an eye on for the early game.
Yeah, just a little bit of a gold lead. It's going to allow maybe one player to get himself some extra gold under his belt and get himself in a better position all around, but it is not something to be too scared about. Good, strong gold leads are about equivalent to 1 to 1.5k gold per minute. If you get a 1,000 gold lead per minute, you're looking to be in a really good spot, and usually a team that is really far ahead at the 10-minute mark, you would see having between 10 and 15,000 gold lead. So far, no team is going to be again anywhere close to that, so things are still going to get pretty steady. But the Drake, though, is going to be coming up on the map in the next 35 to 40 seconds, which I'm expecting to see a reset coming out in the next 15 to 20 seconds, so teams can slowly prepare themselves for that fight. Hopefully very soon. Without First Blood coming up at this stage of the game, no player is going to be having an extra item early on. Oh, there you go. I talked about it, and there's going to be Leon actually dying into the top side to the hands of Futbolist. Swist and also Caglian going to be picking up that one for themselves, and it's going to be actually the Fiora picking up that frag. So now Leon in those 1v1s may be struggling a little bit.
I mean, you say that, but it wasn't exactly a 1v1 there.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah. I mean, yeah.
You the 2v1 coming through. I think Leon's still going to be fine in terms of actual 1v1s. But Fiora is very strong if she gets that ultimate, gets all 4 procs off, and gets that big healing field. But right now, this is going to be Tribe just taking control of the objectives, going into the river as soon as the dragon spawns, getting the dragon very low, but a big fight breaking out.
Yeah, that's going to be actually smattered away by the Lee Sin, and now everyone's going to go pretty low for the side of Futbolist. Great dive on forward, going to get instantly rooted. Oh, Doom's going to be having an unfortunate run of event, locked away from the rest of his team, and now he's going to be one up against the world. As on the side, we're going to be trying to chase it down to Snitch, going to have to flash on forward. He's got the barrier, maybe he's going to get the heal last second too. He's going to survive the encounter, but that will not be the case for Doom, as only the Snitch was able to stay alive. I said the Snitch, but I sort of said Snitch, otherwise there's a completely different meaning. But regardless, that was it's a 5 kill for Drake, but at the end, the Drake late game is still going to be hella valuable for Tribe. So was it worth it for 5 kills? It's the first Drake. I don't know. I wouldn't really say it's fully worth it, but it's still an Infernal Drake. So if they get a few frags under their belt, Tribe can still look really pretty.
Yeah, and Tribe did also force that very early. So they get the Drakes extremely early on, and there's not really an opportunity for the side of Futbolist to do anything with those kills. Yes, they get a nice little gold lead for the time being, but it wasn't like in our previous game where Trovo Nova was able to go and get the Rift Herald in response and be able to at least pick something up in return. So they got those kills. Yes, that's nice, but you do lose that Drake. That's going to be permanent for the rest of the game. That Tribe will have that Infernal Drake buff. So definitely, I think Tribe comes out on top there because of the fact that they forced the issue of getting that dragon very early. Pretty much as soon as it spawns, they went all in and said, we're just hard committing to this dragon. We don't care about the rest of the fight until after the dragon is gone.
I think it's definitely a good idea from Tribe. Unfortunately, they did struggle afterwards, so 5-1 so far in the frags. Checking out the items also, Aurelion Sol already got himself the Rod of Ages, making him a lot more tanky and also get some extra AP under his belt, which Aurelion Sol, in all the games, competitively speaking, that I've seen him played, he's always very far onto the front line and almost just feeling like a tank from time to time. So I'm not too surprised to see Rod of Ages getting purchased. I think it works great with how Aurelion Sol is usually played in his current meta. They're going to be going for the engage onto Aurelion Sol, as I was just talking about him, and apparently I did jinx it for him. Glacial Fissure connects only onto the Alistar, not the main target, but Herald is slowly going to get taken down. And this is still Tribe looking like they are playing the big jungle objective game, and they're not going to give it up for anything in the world. And now they can get some extra lane pressure with that Herald. This is big. In the bottom side, Elpis can take himself a fight with Doom. It's going to be a rather close one. They're both able to survive it, but we could see a lucky snipe maybe coming out from Elpis. It's going to be a little bit too far out of range.
Yeah, and again, just really smart heads-up play by Tribe, recognizing that, okay, our opponents are looking for this Rift Herald. They get the pick onto Aurelion Sol. They know both ADCs are on bottom, as Duck gonna just jump on through and get the shutdown onto Varus. Now it's actually could be a little bit of trouble here for Friend, but he's Alistar. He's just gonna get himself big and bulky and walk away from the Aurelion Sol. But yeah, they get the pick onto Asol using J4 and Alistar to just combo him up and not let him go anywhere. And then they know both ADCs are in the bottom lane. They have the numbers advantage and can then take the objective for themselves.
The amount of turret pushes you're currently seeing happen from Futbolist is rather impressive, I would say. Able to find himself 2 plates in mid, the tower also in top. That is so much gold. And talking about gold, you can see it currently in the gold leader. They got himself a juicy gold lead in their favor. Indeed, they're going to be up to just about 4 to 5,000, making their way up there very slowly but surely. So I think Futbolist has been able to kind of replicate and fight back the objective play early on from Tribe, but that was in a jungle. Now they're playing lane pressure, which I think is good from Futbolist. It's going to help them out quite a bit, especially that they do tend to have a pretty good dive composition with the Vi, with the Fury, and also with the Aurelion Sol that likes to get easy access to the backline if possible. So taking down this turret is really good, but mid turret is definitely something that's going to unlock so much extra potential for Futbolist. So I think that might be the next focus coming up very soon. Maybe after the Drake, though. The Drake, there's going to be a Cloud Drake coming up in just a few seconds, is now on the Rift. Seems like we might see a fight happen over there, as we have a few resets coming out from both sides.
Yeah, I don't know. Duck doesn't seem to be too interested in the Drake. It looks like they're going to be dropping the Rift Herald and guaranteeing that they get at least something. Is they're going to get this turret, if not the Drake. And now the fight might be happening, but they still have Jarvan very far away. The dragon is going down low, below half, but here comes the engage.
Glacial Fissure going to buy so much time. He's going to Drake, going really low, but stolen away by the least, and that's a great play from Emperor Duck. But now it's time to move away for Tribe. They know they potentially can't take this, but they get some more CC. That's actually really big, and the Kai's able to snipe that kill onto the Braum from far away. There's nothing they can do, and Futbolist are falling down like flies. Nothing they can do indeed, and the Herald also got himself 2 plates, almost the entire turret. This is so worth it for Tribe, and now there's only the Aurelion Sol. They could even dive it maybe. I would not be surprised to see that happen.
Yeah, I was actually a little bit concerned to see that Tribe wasn't really going for the dragon as soon as it spawned. You know, usually if you have that Rift Herald as the dragon spawns, you want to drop the Rift Herald and then go to dragon and be there when it spawns. Say, hey, your opponents have to either deal with the Rift Herald or try and contest dragon. They were a little bit late on the movement, but were still able to get absolutely everything they wanted off of it. Getting the Rift Herald push into the mid lane, getting the dragon and the team fight victory, and then being able to go and finish off that turret as well. And now they found themselves another pick.
Great engage from Leon initially there. Doesn't have the Cataclysm used, so that's going to be something to keep in mind, though. That's going to be a really deep Varus, and Varus, we know, he is not a tank, and he gets melted instantly. And now it's just going to be seeming potentially easy for Futbolist, but man, Regner is struggling on this one. Going to have to pop the ult, but that's just not going to be enough to keep him alive. As the dive continues on through from Sweet, also Cagligan going to be continuing, but he's not going to be able to make that damage happen. And Futbolist, they were feeling confident initially, but it's kind of falling down and not in their favor whatsoever. Tribe remain alive as a 2-man, and that's going to be Snitch and Doom popping the hell off.
Triple kill for Doom. That's going to be a massive influx of gold. And I just want to talk about the combo of Lee Sin and Alistar that we just saw there. The Varus, the poor Varus, was almost at his tier 2 turret, gets knocked back by the Lee Sin kick, and then headbutted back, ends up almost at the river. After being at his tier 2 turret, just gets completely flung across the map. And like you mentioned, that's not where Varus wants to be. Ends up in the thick of things, just gets deleted at that point. But really, really smart play by the side of Tribe to set up that combo opportunity for themselves. To say, hey, we're going to take your backline carry, and we're going to turn him into a frontliner. Have fun.
When you have a composition with so much displacement, like, why the hell not? You're just going to make it so easy for yourself to take those fights. I'd like to see also potentially come out on Rekna. I think that is definitely going to be a more of a target you want to go for, because Elpis, Varus is not a target that's able to come back very easily, I would say, but Caglian going to have to go for the repost to try and soak up a bit of that damage initially. They're going to go deep on for the dive, but Caglian is going to be looking pretty, and even like Leon is going to go a little bit for an overstep. Uses the Cataclysm, but he's not going to be able to keep himself alive. And now it's time for Rekna to go on deep, maybe hit the stun with a Celestial Expansion, but it's time for... Oh, gets instantly denied with that stasis from Snitch. That's going to be a big play. That ultimate is going to be wasted for the Vi. And now they're going to be diving it super deep. They also... This is an easy pickup potentially coming out from Doom. He's looking for Rekna. Is he able to find it? Seemed like that is indeed going to be the case. He will be able to find it indeed. Now, that is going to be an ace going the way of Tribe. Sure, they lose Leon, but they pick up the fight. So I'm going to say that is super Omega worth for Tribe.
Oh, absolutely. And they're going to turn their attention to this Baron. Doom is just a monster at this point. He has gotten fully online with this Kaisa. We saw, that fight started. He wasn't anywhere close to it, but side of Futbolist, they chased a little bit too far. Doom was able to join in. The Alistar was able to get involved, and all of a sudden they completely turned that fight on its head. They get the Baron buff. Ocean Dragon's going to be up in under 30 seconds. And Tribe is just in complete control.
They are. They've really shown here that they are the team that they want to continue their win streak from yesterday in the Zenith tournament. And they're doing it in style. And Futbolist, they've been trying some things that I think were really interesting, especially in the early game. But here they are struggling to stay relevant, I would say, in many ways. As now the next streak is going to be coming up. Might be a great opportunity for Futbolist to find this opportunity to... Well, a good opportunity to find an opportunity. That's a lot of opportunities. But there are so many, indeed, opportunities for Futbolist to maybe make a comeback happen. But the Drake just instantly got popped. And I think that was going to be maybe the thing that could make the matters change in favor of Futbolist if they were trying to take a sneaky fight. But they didn't have Theora that was ready to take the fight either. The Baron buff got picked up also. So they're fully ready to go for these pushes. Tribe are, as you said, I couldn't say any better here, Tasty. They are in full control and show no signs of slowing down. They're looking to pick turret after turret. Pushing down the bottom side, pushing the top side, as they'll deny the split push from the Fiora thanks to Leon and the Jarvan. And there you go. That's going to be an extra tower in the mid. And the second tower also in the bottom lane should be falling very soon. Braum in a really bad spot. Doesn't have the Unbreakable anymore. So he's going to have to reposition towards his teammates. And I think it's just a matter of time before we see Tribe actually close off this game versus Futbolist.
Yeah, they have minions crashing into both the bottom and mid lane turrets in the base. And those are just... Once those fall, it becomes very difficult to hang on in these games, and there's just so much pressure coming out from between Alistar just frontlining like this big knock up and a ton of damage to follow up. They don't get any kills, but they pushed Futbolist off the turret. That's all they needed, and that first base turret is going to fall. Super minions will now be spawning in both the bottom and the mid lane, and they still have a push going here in the top lane as well. Leon has just been split pushing on this top side, as now they have minions. The Baron buff is gone, but they do have minions on the turret. Here we go.
Oh, the double knock up on top of Rekna. He's going to have to go golden instantly, but he's not going to... Oh, he's able to actually flash away to safety, so he's going to be good. This is Tribe actually going rather low. Maybe a little bit of an overstep on their end, as they're going to be having the GA propped away. That's going to be still Lee Sin, Emperor Duck in a really good spot. And now, because they picked up the towers earlier, and there's not going to be that backdoor buff on the Nexus anymore, they might be able to just close off this game right here, right now, as they put Rekna in once again a really bad situation. But Tribe being respectful, which I do like. After a little bit of an overstep initially in that fight, it's going to go back to base, get themselves the items, and put all the odds on their side to make sure they can 100% take this game, and I enjoy that from Tribe, because I think we remember Leon back in the day, they used to have I would say the cocky team. They would try some stuff out and sometimes throw games. This is a way better version of this.
Yeah, and it's really smart to do that as well. You know, your opponents just got to purchase items because they're in their base already, and you've been a very long time without recalling. So now they go back to base, they buy up. Now they have that big lead again. They're able to put that huge gold lead that they have accrued for themselves to use. And you can see the item advantages across the board, just really, really far ahead on some of these. You know, Oriana sitting at 4 completed items. Actually 5, I believe, at full build, it looks like. So just kidding. Yeah, full build for Oriana with the 15,000 gold on I'm the Doom. Not quite full build just yet, as he does have that recurve bow still sitting in the inventory, but they're going to be going for this up Baron once again. They take that down, and can they find some kills here to pick up for a bonus?
Emperor Duck has been clinical on these smites today, that's for sure. Hopefully can do the same going into game number 2, but it seemed like this is just the closing moments of this one for Futbolist. The Shockwave to secure the deal. That's going to be snitched. Another frag going his way with his team. Glacial Fissure, but a little bit of time for Pigas to flash away, potentially to the base. And Frin will not be able to close off the gap, but that is going to be game. Doesn't matter what the hell you're going to try to do. They get some good CC to close it off, but that is still the Nexus falling down and crumbling down to pieces. And that is indeed how the cookie crumbles. As that's going to be game number 1 going the way of Tribe. I think we knew since we hit the mid game here, Tasty, they were just in such a good advantage position, and they were just using that advantage so well that I was not too doubtful that we were going to be seeing Tribe take that first game.
Yeah, once Tribe was able to get that pick on Aurelion Soul around the Rift Herald and then secure the Rift Herald for themselves, it was kind of all downhill coasting from there. They were able to use that Rift Herald to put pressure on mid lane,